Hello YouTube, it is 11:38 a.m. Friday, February 11th, 2022, and yeah, I'm gonna cross right here again, just like I did yesterday, because that just is more effective than going over to that out-of-the-way crosswalk and waiting when there's no traffic. Alright, now y'all get to see that cool-ass mural in the daytime. Unfortunately, it is blocked by cars. But whatever, it all starts over there, I guess. Alright, so I'm doing the same walk I did last night, which is kind of neat. I had commented last night about how I never do this in the daytime, so you never really get to see the streets. So now you do. How lucky do you feel about that? So since the dead dog, yeah, I think there's a Phoenix animal. Like, I think there's actually a phone line for reporting dead animals, but, yeah, I didn't feel like looking that up, and it just really chaps my ass that Phoenix doesn't answer their non-emergency phone number. Phoenix PD doesn't answer their non-emergency phone number with any kind of quickness anymore. Just don't have the I just have the available data to be constantly looking at municipal numbers, and don't have the battery to be on hold with Phoenix PD's non-emergency number for, I don't know how long it takes to get an answer, to be honest. Last time I did it, I think I was on the phone with them for over 15 minutes and never got connected. So yeah, it's pretty freaking ridiculous. Although I hear in some places it's almost like that when you call 911, so I guess I should be glad that gets answered. But on the same token, I refuse to be the sort of person who uses 911 to report something that's not an emergency. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of disturbing how long that dog's been there, because it was there at 6 o'clock this morning, more or less. That's about what time I got off the 44 coming home early this morning from Bullocks. So, and God knows how long it was there before that, but yeah, been there at least. I've been there at least 5 hours, so pretty freaking disgusting. Anyway, sorry, trying to get the image of that dead dog out of my head. Transfer from the Route 44 to the westbound rail was pretty quick. I did end up, even though I thought I was going to get on the northbound 44 and do the 44, 50, 60 thing, but southbound 44 looked like it was going to show up about 10 minutes, maybe a little more than that earlier, so went ahead and went to the rail. The rail transfer was pretty quick. Unfortunately, as you can probably infer from the fact that you see me walking down Palo Verde, I think it's Palo Verde at this point. I forget the exact point where it switches from some numbered street to Palo Verde. There's a sign, but it's in an out-of-the-way place where it's easy to miss it. Anyway, yeah, as you can infer from the fact I'm walking, as per usual, the transfer from the light rail to westbound 60 absolutely didn't work out. And I knew that from about the moment I got on the rail. I checked the schedules, and the train I was on was running late, which is probably why I caught it so quickly. If it was on time, I probably would have missed the transfer from the 44. But interesting thing about when you look in the Valley Metro app at rail time, like when you click on a stop and it shows you, or not so much as a stop. I'm not even sure about stops, to be honest. When you're clicking on an individual train versus an individual bus, and you look at the upcoming stops, and it shows you when it's going to show up, you know that the times are late because they're in red. But when you look at a bus, it'll show the time it should be there in gray text to the left of the red text, which is the estimation of when it's going to show up late. So you know, like, roughly how late it's running and what time it would normally be running. For some reason, it doesn't do that with trains. It just simply shows you red text to let you know that it's running late and what time it's estimating it's going to be there late. So yeah, I have no idea if it was a minute late or 15 minutes late. I just know it was red text and running late. Anyway, I scrolled forward to see when it would be arriving at Christown, 19th Avenue in Montebello, and it looked like I'd be missing the Route 60 by about 5 minutes, and 5, maybe 6 minutes. And yeah, I'd say that's about what it was. I checked on it again at around, on the train at around 7th Avenue and Camelback. And at that point, the 60 had just left the Montebello Transit Center and was headed north on 19th Avenue. Was almost back to Bethany Home Road. So, showing you guys this lovely scenic alley just to the south of Bethany Home Road. It's debatable which is worse, walking through this alley with its abundance of trash in it, or walking on that on the sidewalk, the narrow sidewalk on the Bethany Home frontage road that the other day last night was blocked by a homeless person in her shopping cart. It's kind of a crapshoot, which is worse. Anyway, at this point, I'm heading up to the frontage road because I've walked that alley once before, and it kind of starts to turn sort of southbound past this block. 22nd Avenue right now. Anyway, yeah, so I just barely missed it. I mean, I could have waited there for another 25 minutes for the next 60, but it doesn't take that long. I mean, you just figure 25 minutes and then another 5 minutes on the bus. It doesn't take 30 minutes to walk this, and it's fairly nice out, so why the hell not? Just walk it. I mean, it annoys me that that it's something that's almost a mile, something that's over a mile away shouldn't be more convenient to walk than to take transit, but I live in Phoenix, so it just is what it is. It fucking sucks here without a car. So I actually accomplished some of my goals on the train ride there. Didn't get the answer that I wanted, but I called Assurance Wireless, and I guess when I ported my number off the device, they assumed that what I did was move my phone number to another Lifeline government phone provider, which is not what I did. I moved it back to my iPhone with very inexpensive prepaid service through Mint Mobile. And if you're interested in Mint Mobile, I'll put my referral code in the comments section. I could give it a try. For the most part, I do like it. I can tell I can tell sometimes I'm on the downside of the whole data prioritization thing. But for the most part, it's T-Mobile service. And there are plans that give more than 10 gigs of data a month. That's the plan that I bought, just because it was I think that plan was $20 a month, and then they had a thing, prepay for 3 months, get 3 months free. So I'm like, well, it's six months for $60 and change. As broke as I am, I can still afford that. And I was really eager to get phone service back on my iPhone, which is the one thing Assurance Wireless couldn't do for me. And I tried to do that pretty much right from the get-go, shortly after I got my first Assurance Wireless phone. And the person who gave me the phone, ooh, look, it's a book. The person, if I had a shoulder bag, I'd probably grab that and throw it in it, but I don't feel like carrying anything as heavy as a hardback book right now. Anyway, the person who gave me the phone, who was set up at one of those little, tents handing out free phones in the hood, and I remember I was vlogging that day. I got him on a video back when I used to shoot the videos with my phones in the phone holder from my dashboard. Yeah, that guy turned out to be a hell of a letdown on several levels. He told me he'd hook me up with a job giving away the Obama phones and that it would pay well, and then proceeded to, for the most part, just ignore my contacts. Attempts to, just text me, I'll hook you up. And, pretty much ignored that. At one point he called me back and was just kind of short with me for contacting him. He was like, well, I'll get back in touch with you when I'm ready. I'm like, well, I'm kind of ready to work now. And he said that you could get me to work now. You're blocking the sidewalk. You're blocking the sidewalk. God, I'm so sick of that shit. Anyway, part of me wants to carry like ink-filled water balloons to throw at people who do that. And that person just turned in front of traffic. Not the same vehicle though. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so it was kind of like, well, I'm not ready, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, okay. It's not what he told me when I was talking to him in person. So kind of a letdown. I mean, I'm sure working for Amazon is a much better gig. So, I'm in a better place now. But man, I really needed to work back then. And then the other thing that was a letdown for him is that he had specifically told me that once that I would be able to call Assurance Wireless customer service and have my number moved, just move my SIM card from the phone they gave me, which is the UMX, and move it to any phone that I already owned that was unlocked. Just give their customer service a call. And of course that ended up not working out. Sure, I already vlogged about that back when it happened. Excessively frustrating for me, frustrating for my friend Jeff, who tried to help me with it. I think I might have actually been able to do that with the second Obama phone that I got. That was through TrueConnect. I think I did actually have the option to do that with them, but the phone I got from them, the NUU phone, it was a love-hate thing with me in that phone. I did like the way it shot video, and it just ended up being to my advantage to keep that phone with its service on it separated from my iPhone. I don't understand why people approach red light that fast. It makes no sense to me. Got to keep my head on a swivel at this intersection because the walk signal's actually working. Anyway, you got a bum flying aside. Good times. All right, so anyway, yeah, so I ended up keeping that one separate. And the other thing was that phone had a different number, which initially I wasn't using for anything. But when I started working with Adam as a job coach, job developer, whatever his proper title is, it seemed like it would be a good idea to have that, use that number separately for job hunting purposes, which is great, because I ended up getting just so many text messages from automated recruiting, job recruiting websites, that it would have sucked if I had that coming in on my main phone number. Although, if memory serves, the main reason that I did that approach was because initially the ringer on the UMX phone was so quiet I couldn't hear it when people would call me, and I guess that was a default setting, and it took me the longest time to figure out how to change that, because you didn't change the ringer with the normal buttons on the side like I changed the ringer volume on my iPhone and pretty much every other smartphone I've ever owned, and even phones that weren't smartphones. They had the little volume up and down buttons. Usually that adjust the ringer volume, but for whatever reason on the UMX it doesn't. Anyway, so that's what I ended up doing, and everything was kind of going okay until Monday, when I lost my after getting hit by a car. I lost my NUU phone. One guy just setting up a vending spot right there, selling football crap. Alrighty then. Anyway, so long story short, I talked to Assurance Wireless. The guy was like, well, which provider do you want to have? It's like, man, it's not like I don't. I want to have you guys if I'm on the phone with you guys. I guess he just assumed that he had a strong accent, so he was hard to understand. But yeah, he just assumed that I had moved my number. Anyway, I wanted my old number on my iPhone. That's so. I'm glad I got that. I'm just kind of in a bind for data right now. I have only about a gig of data left with Mint to last me another 9 days, which isn't going to cut it. I forget what the price is to add data, but it's not like prohibitively expensive, but it feels excessive when one takes in consideration that I'm getting unlimited text and calls and my first 10 gigs for $10. And even if you take into consideration that without that promotional deal, I was getting it for $20. It's the next, like 10 gigs or whatever it's notably more expensive than that, which is not cool. Anyway, so I ended up reapplying with, at that point, like from talking to the customer service rep for Assurance Wireless, yeah, that SIM card has been deactivated. There's no reactivating that SIM card that's in my UMX phone. There's no reactivating that account. That is a done account, done whatever. He goes, well, you can reapply and we'll send you a new device. Upgraded new device. I can only imagine how upgraded it is. I hope to God it's not a fucking... I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Find out what kind of fucking shit device they send me. Because I went ahead and applied and I qualified. So, but of course I'm waiting 5 to 10 days for that to show up. And I really need to solve my data problem now. I mean, in 9 days I'll be re-upped with another 10 gigs from 10 gigs worth of data from Mint. Anyway, that's what's up with that. I'm at Bullocks. I'm wasting time right now. Although I did call Heather, the bartender, to find out that I don't have to get here by noon for breakfast. Breakfast is good until 1 p.m. So, on that note, it's 11:57. I made it here before noon. So, this is just a win all the way around. I'll get me some breakfast.